What's up, 5th grade? It's Monday for me. I have Monday vibes today, but it is, guys, the days are all off when I'm not writing the date on the board. It would be Wednesday for you guys. Happy Wednesday. All right, y'all. Today's lesson is lesson 3.10, patterns with decimals. I say we dive right in. Let's do it. It says, a state park rents canoes for guests to use at the lake. It costs $5 to rent a canoe for 1 hour, $6.75 for 2 hours, $8.50 for 3 hours, and $10.25 for 4 hours. If this pattern continues, how much should it cost Jason to rent a canoe for 7 hours? Do you guys remember in 1st and 2nd grade when they would give you patterns and you had to figure out what the pattern was, whether it was like, oh, we start with 10, then the next number is 9, 8, 7, 6. What's the pattern? We're subtracting by 1. Or, for example, they would have like start with 4, and then it's 6, 8, 10. What's the pattern? We're counting by 2s. So guess what? This is actually exactly what we're doing, just that we're doing it with decimals. So not bad. If you get stressed out at all during this lesson, just remember that you're doing 1st and 2nd grade work, kind of. Or I guess the 5th grade version of 1st and 2nd grade work, whatever. The point is, it's not bad. All you have to do is figure out what the pattern is, and then you've got it, okay? I think one of the biggest things to remember when it comes to patterns is that patterns always follow the same rule. Once you figure out the rule for whatever pattern you have, then you're golden. You can figure out whatever number you want. Now, where it says step 1, it says write the terms that you know in this sequence. Then look at the pattern by finding the difference from one term in the sequence to the next. Now, because this is plus 175, guess what? We can't break from it in the other one. So the next one is going to be plus $1.75. If I wanted to check this, which I probably should just to make sure, I'm going to take this number and subtract it from this number. Whatever the bigger number is, we're going to take it and subtract it. So I have 850. Line up your decimals. 675. That's a 10. We have to borrow, bring down 1. So we are adding by $1.75 every time, which takes us to step 2. It says, write a rule that describes the pattern in the sequence. Well, the rule is we add by $1.75. So right there for step 2, you're going to write, the rule is add $1.75. You don't have to write it in word form. You can write it in number form. You do the $sign, 1.75. I'll take that. Now, we have up to 4 hours of what a rental could be. The problem is asking us how much it would cost for 7 hours. Okay, so that means that we would have something here for 5, for 6, and then this number would be the one for 7 hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take our last number that we had, 1025, and I'm going to add $1.75. Bring down. Okay, don't forget your $sign when you write your answer, but this is the one for 5 hours. The next number I'm going to take is the last one that I just found. So this one, $12 plus $1.75. Bring down the decimal. Okay, the next one is $13.75. And the last one is how we find our answer. We take this one, the $13.75, and you got it, add $1.75 to it. Bring down the decimal, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. For a 7-hour rental, it'll cost us $15 with 50 cents. On the very bottom of that page of Unlock the Problem, it says, so it should cost us, and right there on the blank, you're going to write $15.50 to rent a canoe for 7 hours. On the bottom, it says, what observation can you make about the pattern and sequence that will help you write a rule? Well, we can see that it is going up. Every single time that we have a new number, it's actually increasing. On the line, if you write me something like the numbers get bigger or the numbers increase or something like that, I will take any one of those. For the example on page 144, it says, write a rule for the pattern in the sequence, then find the unknown terms in the sequence. Starting off with step 1, it says, look at the first few terms in the sequence. Okay, so we have 29.6 and 28.3. Had to switch the mic because it was getting a crunchy sound and I didn't even realize. Sorry. Step 2 says, write a rule that describes the pattern in the sequence. What operation can be used to describe a sequence that increases? Well, if we're increasing, that means that we are adding. So go ahead and write that there. What operation can be used to describe a sequence that increases? Right there, adding or addition. On the next line, what operation can be used to describe a sequence that is decreasing or getting smaller? Subtracting or subtraction. I don't know what my rule is yet. All I know is that we're getting smaller. So I know that we're going to subtract, but I don't know by how much. To figure that out, we're going to take our bigger number and our smaller number, and we're going to subtract our smaller number from our bigger number. So I'm going to write 29.6 and 28.3 and subtract. Once I find the difference, I'll be able to know that I'm subtracting by 1.3 every single time. That brings me to step 3. It says, use your rule to find the unknown terms, then complete the sequence above. Because we already know the rule, which is subtracting by 1.3 every time, I can take the last number, which was 25.7, and subtract 1.3, which would give us 24.4. I'll take 24.4 and subtract 1.3 from it, which would give us 23.1. And the last number, take 23.1 and subtract 1.3. Which would give us 21.8. On the bottom, it says, explain how you know whether your rule for a sequence would involve addition or subtraction. All you need to do, guys, is look at your numbers. If they're getting bigger, we're going to be adding. If we're getting smaller, we're going to be subtracting. Make sure that you put that in your own words somehow. I need to make sure that you understand. If the numbers are getting bigger, we're going to be adding. Your rule is going to be add by whatever the number is. And if the numbers are getting smaller, you're going to write subtract by blah, 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 whatever you put in there. I'm going to do letter A with you from the Try This. It says, write a rule for the sequence, then find the unknown term. So here we have 65.9, 65.3, a blank that we're going to have to fill in, 64.1, 63.5, 62.9. We have all these lovely numbers, but remember the only two that we really need is just two that are next to each other, any one of them that are next to each other. I'm going to show you that we can do it with any number that we have that are right next to each other. So I'm going to take 64.1 and 63.5. Remember, we always want the bigger number on the top. 64 is bigger than 63. I lined up my decimals, so now I can subtract. Great. I see that my numbers are getting smaller. We're going from 65.9, 65.3, 64.1, 63, 62.9. So I know the rule is going to be subtract by 0.6 or 0.6. Now that I found out my rule, I can then take my 65.3 and subtract 0.6 from it. Now remember, again, my decimals are lined up. If you need to, you can put your filler numbers. So the fill-in number will be 64.7. For try this B, we have 4 lines just like this, and it gives us a rule. The instructions say, write the first 4 terms of the sequence. The rule is start with 0.35 or 35 hundredths and add by 15 hundredths every time. So we're going to do exactly as they told us. We're going to start with 35 hundredths, 0.35. And to find our next one, we're going to add 0.15. So 0.35, 0.15. I made sure my decimal points were lined up. Look at that. I have my next number. Now to figure out my next one, I take 0.50 and add 0.15 again. My next one is 0.65. To find out my last number, I'm going to take the 0.65 and add, you got it, 0.15. And there's our last sequence. 5th grade, today you're not skipping anything because it's all patterns. As long as you figure out whether you're adding or subtracting, and then you can subtract 2 numbers that are right next to each other to find out the rule, you'll be okay. Panda, 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 Panda Family Productions. All right, parents, I made my own question for our example. Hola, padres, hice mi propio problema para este ejemplo, and I'm going to teach you how to find our patterns and our decimals. Les voy a enseñar cómo encontrar una secuencia con decimales. What I just taught the students was that they need to take 2 numbers that are right next to each other and subtract them to figure out what our pattern is. Lo que les acabo de enseñar a los niños es que tienen que tomar 2 números que están juntos y luego van a encontrar la diferencia para encontrar cuál es la secuencia de los números. So, I'm going to show you. Les voy a enseñar. I like to underline the numbers so that way they can know which ones we're working with. Me gusta subrayar los números para que los niños vean cuáles son los números que estamos trabajando. Take the bigger number, agarra el número más grande, put it on top, ponlo arriba. Then find the difference. Y luego encontrar la diferencia. Our answer is 1.1. La respuesta es 1.1. The next thing we're going to do is see if our numbers are getting bigger or if they're getting smaller. La próxima cosa que vamos a ver es si los números se están haciendo más grandes o más chiquitos. In this case, they are getting bigger. En este caso, sí están aumentando los números. So to find the next 2 numbers, para encontrar los últimos 2 números, we're going to write a rule. Vamos a escribir una regla. The rule is adding, because we're getting bigger. La regla es aumentando by 1.1, por 1.1. So we're going to take the number, the last number we had, 3.9. Vamos a agregarle 3.9 porque es el último número que teníamos. And we're going to add 1.1. Vamos a agregar 1.1. And for the last one, y para el último número, we're going to take the last number we had. Vamos a agregar el último número que teníamos, and we're going to add 1.1. Y vamos a agregar 1.1. And that's how you find the pattern. Y así es como encuentran la secuencia. The other type of problem that you'll see in this lesson, el último tipo de problema que van a ver en esta lección, is where they give them a sentence, donde les dan una oración así. And it'll say something like, start with a certain number, and then it'll either say add or subtract by, and then a number. Donde les va a decir algo, comienza con un número, y luego van a sumar o encontrar la diferencia de otro número. For this one, it says start with 6.7 and subtract 2.1. Para esta dice comienza con 6.7 y van a encontrar la diferencia de 2.2. So let's get started. They told us our first number was 6.7. Nos dijeron que el primer número era 6.7. So I'm going to write that down. Voy a escribir eso en la línea. Then I'm going to subtract 2.2. Y luego voy a encontrar la diferencia de 2.2. To find my next number, para encontrar el otro número. Done. 4.5, 4.5. Then, to find my last number, I'm going to subtract by 2.2. Para encontrar el último número, voy a encontrar la diferencia de 2.2. And there you go. Y ahí está. That's how we find the pattern. Así es como encontramos la secuencia. As always, I want to give a reminder to my parents that I am available via text message, via email, via Google Hangouts, if that's the best way to reach me. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Un recordatorio para todos mis padres, si necesitan ayuda en algo, si no entendieron algo de esta lección, por favor contáctenme. Me pueden textear, me pueden mandar correo electrónico, me pueden mandar mensaje por Google Hangouts. Cualquier manera es más fácil para ustedes para contactarme. Estoy disponible para ustedes. Remember that we are not doing homework. We are only turning in the lessons. And if I see that you're struggling with the lesson, then I will assign you some homework. Recuerden que no estoy asignando tarea, es solo si yo veo en su lección que están batallando que sí van a tener tarea.